My parents made us all share one bedroom for closeness, until I found out why they really did it. I was 12 when Dad knocked down the walls between our 3 bedrooms with a sledgehammer, saying families who sleep together stay together. Mom stood in the doorway filming him, narrating about how American culture had poisoned us with individualism and privacy. My older brother Caleb was 15 and looked like someone had punched him in the stomach. My little sister Meadow was only 7 and kept asking if this meant we were getting bunk beds. Dad laughed and said we were getting something better than bunk beds. We were getting unity. The sledgehammer came down again and drywall exploded into white powder that covered everything. Mom posted the video to her wellness blog that night with the caption, "Radical family healing begins with radical vulnerability." The comment section filled up with heart emojis and people saying they wished they were brave enough to do this. Nobody asked if we wanted this. By Sunday afternoon, our house had been transformed. 3 bedrooms became one massive space with our beds arranged in a circle like wagon train settlers preparing for attack. Dad installed industrial shelving units where the walls used to be, saying we'd share everything now because private possessions bred secrecy and distance. My books went on communal shelves next to Caleb's gaming equipment and Meadow's stuffed animals. Mom gathered all our clothes into shared bins organized by type rather than person. I watched Caleb's jaw clench as she folded his favorite band t-shirt into a bin labeled casual tops that Meadow could theoretically wear too. The first night in our new configuration, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling that now stretched endlessly above all 4 of us. Dad announced he'd be checking on us throughout the night to ensure we were building healthy sleep patterns together. I didn't understand what that meant until 2 a.m. when I woke to find him sitting in a chair between our beds, just watching us sleep. When I asked what he was doing, he said he was bearing witness to our family's healing. He stayed there until dawn. I couldn't fall back asleep with his eyes moving from bed to bed, lingering on each of us like he was memorizing something. In the morning, he looked energized while I felt hollowed out from exhaustion. Mom's blog exploded after she posted about our sleeping arrangement. Parenting magazines requested interviews about her revolutionary approach to family cohesion. She appeared on a local morning show explaining how Western society's obsession with privacy was destroying the nuclear family. The host asked about boundaries and personal space, and Mom laughed like the question was adorable and naive. She said boundaries were just walls we built to keep love out, and our family was tearing those walls down literally and figuratively. The segment ended with the host looking uncomfortable but thanking Mom for her bold perspective. Dad recorded the entire thing and played it back for us that evening in our bedroom, pausing to point out moments where Mom had perfectly articulated their philosophy. He seemed proud in a way that made my stomach hurt. Dad started working from home more, setting up his laptop in our shared bedroom so he could be present during our family togetherness. He'd take video calls with clients while we did homework, occasionally panning the camera to show our unified space. He told his colleagues we were participating in an experiment about collaborative living. I noticed he never mentioned that those families usually had separate spaces for older children or that their cultural context was completely different from ours. Caleb pointed this out once, and Dad accused him of using intellectualism as a defense mechanism against emotional growth. Caleb started changing clothes in the bathroom, the only room with a door that's still locked. Mom noticed immediately and called a family meeting in our bedroom circle. She sat on the floor between our beds and asked Caleb why he was retreating into shame and secrecy. He said he just wanted privacy while changing, which seemed reasonable to me. Mom said privacy while changing implied there was something shameful about our bodies, and shame was poison that destroyed families from the inside out. She suggested we start changing clothes together in our bedroom to normalize our natural forms and eliminate toxic modesty. Caleb's face went white. Dad supported the idea enthusiastically, saying he and Mom would participate too to model healthy comfort with vulnerability. I watched my 15-year-old brother calculate whether this argument was worth having. He changed in the bathroom anyway. Mom documented his resistance to healing in her journal. The night checks became routine. Dad would wake us around 2 a.m., sitting in his chair with a small lamp watching. Sometimes he'd write in a notebook. Sometimes he'd just stare. When I asked Mom about it the next morning, she explained that Dad was practicing mindful presence and teaching us that love meant constant attention. She said children in our culture were neglected because parents gave them too much space, too much privacy, too much room to develop problems in isolation. Caleb started sleeping with his back to Dad's chair. I just stopped sleeping well. My grades dropped within a month because I couldn't focus through the exhaustion. My English teacher, Mrs. Kozloff, noticed I was falling asleep in class. She kept me after school one day and asked if everything was okay at home. That's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. Full story is linked below or on my channel.